A lot of the biggest riders, except no Olav Koy that we're aware of. Max Walscheid was in there in that leading group. Where's he now? Where's he? Look, he might be off the back of that leading group, just hanging back to the back to see what's going on behind. Third place last year, Max Walscheid, and a former winner of this race back in 2018, riding now in this race for his national team of Germany. Right, let's see who we've got here. Mads Pedersen going through for Lidl Trek. So a lot of the big names being drawn out very early on in this race and having to get working as well. But they're still, understandably, in amongst them, looking back to see whether it's worth it or how worth it is. I think, Brian, by the looks of it, it probably is worth it at the moment because there's enough wind to cause problems. I don't know if we'll ever find out until the finish and the interviews how that happened, whether it was the wind or whether it was a crash. But happened pretty quickly by the looks of it too.
It's the host broadcast, the producer missed there, so I could just saw a glimpse of him at the back of the front group there. It's quite unfortunate, but I'm sure in these conditions we might see, you know, one or two others maybe suffer, you know, a puncture or something like that.
Right, so this is the front of the peloton now, being led by Entourage Circus Wanty. They didn't bring 7 riders to the race. They've only got 6 here, so 1 down on the maximum amount they're allowed to have. It looks like they'll be using all of that too. In that leading group was Julius Johansson, if I'm not mistaken, and he is exactly the kind of person they could do with on the front of this second group, bringing things back because he's such a strong worker. 142, there we go. So if that's accurate, it's not come down by a great deal. But I don't know if it's just me, Brian, but so you think the looking around was because of the crash from that leading group? There was a bit of them checking who'd gone down, maybe? It just looked like the impetus had gone out of our leading group a little bit. I'd be wrong. Here it is again. This is the front of the race.
See, they're still just all rolling through. This is kind of holding pattern. So they've got multiples. There's, I would say, almost 20 in this string. You know, this kind of chain, so they're all just rolling through, quite happy doing that. And when you do that, Jez, the pace remains high, and it's little effort. But when you've got 6 riders at the front of the peloton, they are putting in a lot more effort than any of these riders are doing.
Yeah. And it's very short, even turns as well. Eduardo Affini in the pink glasses going through. I do that there was some kind of crash involved that split things, but the wind was blowing at the time and really making the riders work hard. It really stirred things up, immediately snuffled out the tiny 3-man breakaway that had a little lead, and they have been absorbed into the leading group as well. But Q36.5 have been doing most of the chasing at the front of that second group.
Starting to run out a little bit now. The team that did come up to help them was the Benotti team. They came up with some numbers, but they've kind of disappeared and did look.
Oh dear, not good. That's in the middle of our leading group too. European champion is down. In fact, there's almost one from every team down there as well. Everyone back up. Christophe Laporte back up as well. Oh, that's not good. Casper van Uden is down. It was right near the front as well. Looking to see who else is in there.
Teutenberg.
Yep. Tim Thorn Teutenberg, the German rider, is going to chase to get back in. And one of the Lotto Kernhaus riders as well.
Just watch that second kind of group. Who hits the deck first?
Right, it's the PNS Benotti rider. Yep. Oof. Thankfully.
Must have been just something on the road.
Yeah. Oh, we see it from behind now as well. Let's hope this is the last time we see it, but we'll have a look again. Yeah. It's slightly off camber as well, isn't it, Brian? Just sloping away to them into that corner, and the panic, a little bit of panic behind,
just, yeah, but panic and hit the brakes. Just looking at the road surface. Just maybe see slightly on the right-hand side there. Maybe a little bit of maybe kind of oil or something like that.
Yeah, could have been a bit of. It might have been a little bit of gravel there as well, maybe, from what we're looking at, but I don't know. Tim Thorn Teutenberg is in company with our European champion, Christophe Laporte, and they're on the back of the Lidl Trek car. Should get back on fairly swiftly, I'd have thought. Oh, and hang on a minute.
See something on
same
the
place, yep. Brian, isn't it? Exactly the same place. Gosh, I'm presuming the word probably would have got back to this second group, but
too quick, and I don't think the race director would have done anything with that. He would have just thought you have to. In a race situation like this, you really have to give the peloton an opportunity and maybe try and kind of neutralise it a little bit and give that indication, but that information has not got back, unfortunately. They had just over a minute to be able to do that, and they failed to react.
Yeah, it's very strange, isn't it? It's quite innocuous. It even looks like the road has dried out a fair bit there as well. And it's a lovely smooth surface. You're right, there has to be something on it there, because they've ripped through some of these corners so far, and there's been no problems at all. This is Jared Drisner's of Lotto Destiny,
just
the Australian.
Up, there's about 3 riders from Soudal Quickstep. One still down on the right hand side. Yep. 2 a little bit kind of further up. Start, you get them measured, and then you pull them up. And
is that one of those things?
What can you do?
Is that one of those things, Brian, that comes back to that age-old UCI thing of trying to protect the image of the sport? So a racing cyclist in a road race looks like a racing cyclist in a road race. And a time trial is just going to look slightly different. Is it that? Because the rule that's been used, the UCI have said before that certain rules are being brought in to protect, so that technological advantage and money doesn't necessarily mean that by spending a certain amount of money you're going to be that much faster than someone else across different levels of the sport. I can't believe that longer socks are that much more expensive than shorter socks made from the same material. I know you can get extremely expensive aero socks. If we look at Max Walscheid here, I mean, he's a big, tall guy. That is a long pair of socks. You know, on Caleb Ewan, that's leg warmers almost. You know, they are long. But I mean, I know we don't talk about it that much anymore, but I'm just curious. Some of them look. I
look at the next kind of characters that are coming through. It's a serious sport, and you know, definitely Pires again was a big character in our sport, and we missed in the road cycling side.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we wish him well in his quest to be on the mountain bike at the Paris Olympics, of course, as well. Not just on the mountain bike at the Olympics, but contending for them. It will be interesting to see, because he's dipped in and out of that mountain biking career during his road career as well, and it's never quite worked out for him. So let's see how the singular focus of the Fat Tired 29er is going to be for him. Still seeing riders just dripping off the back a little bit. And this is Baptiste Planker, the very experienced Belgian for Entourage Circus Wanty, who's now setting the pace on the front in those little light drips of rain. Yeah, so Caden Groves.
Eickhoff as well. Eickhoff is the rider that's done the least amount of work in this front group.
Yep, Christophe Laporte moving up to just overlap Niels Eickhoff as well. Eickhoff on the outside, following Christophe Laporte through. Looking at the front end shot, is that an attack? Yes, it is a little. That final lap, 2 leaders clear, Christophe Laporte and Eduardo. Sorry, Christophe Laporte, of course, and who's he got with him, Brian? I'm losing my mind up there.
Eickhoff.
Sorry, Eickhoff, Niels Eickhoff, thank you. So back onto the cobbles.
Look at Edward Plankert shutting this one down now. He's full. I think Koch's gone. His legs have left him. So Ed Plankert doing a terrific job here for Caden Groves. It looks like Mads Pedersen is just intent and just kind of saving everything for this sprint at the end. Hagenes is still there. Danny Van Poppel just opening up a little bit of a gap. So I think you know, looking okay for Caden Groves and Mads Pedersen for the moment. Warren's Call just kind of sitting on the back. Just wait until they all come back together, because prime place is Warren's Called at the back. If he can just, you know, launch, but it's what you've got left in the legs. Do you want to put it down to a sprint? 3.2 kilometres to go. It does look rather tired and ragged at the front now.
Definitely does. Don't forget they're on the cobbles right now. But Caden Groves swung out and sat back a bit. He's on the radio there to Plankert, and he's radioed to Plankert, I think, to say go for it, get on with it, go. He's going to follow. Groves had swung out actually and dropped off the back wheel of Mads Pedersen. This is the peloton chasing. 50 seconds. This is a desperate late chase, and it's Jasper Philipsen, The fastest sprinter, the most illustriously decorated sprinter in the world right now, on the front of that chasing group, but we'll ignore them. If the timing gaps are right, we don't even need to worry about them at all. Plankert's been brought back. He has Christophe Laporte on his wheel. Mads Pedersen tucked in third wheel. Pedersen hasn't really opened up yet in this group. Maybe he is the danger man, particularly after the tough conditions we've been in today. Attack from Jumbo-Visma though, just like Perstrand Hagenes, I think. Perstrand Hagenes has gone.
Has to go, and I think into the radio. I don't have the legs to Caden Groves. I don't think Ed Plankert has got the legs to shut this one down. He was straight onto the radio, and no reaction there from Caden Groves.
With 3 riders in there, we knew this would be what Jumbo-Visma would try, particularly if the first effort from Christophe Laporte didn't work, and it didn't. This is the young Norwegian, Perstrand Hagenes, who's gone hard by himself. Of course, he's got 2 teammates behind who'll snuffle anything out. Unless they want to do a Jumbo-Visma and jump clear, the 2 of them, and get the 1, 2, 3 on the line. I wouldn't put past anything past Jumbo-Visma this year. It is eminently possible, but let's see, because behind there are now some very strong sprinters in the likes of Groves who'll be thinking about charging up their nitro, ready for this final sprint. Will they get a chance to use it though, or is this young man riding away to what would be, along with that stage of the 4 days of Dunkirk, it would be probably the biggest win of his career.
Well, Ed Plankert's not going to do this himself. He's already brought back Christophe Laporte and Eickhoff.
Right, Brian, I think he might do this. It was brilliant timing. It was a big hit out right at the right time. He's thankfully on the smoothest part of the course. There's no cobbles now between now and the line, so he can send it a bit more through these corners and not worry too much in these drying out conditions. It's been Jumbo-Visma's year. It's already been their race today, getting 3 in that breakaway. And is it about to become their race entirely? Perstrand Hagenes has got to keep it rubber side down, and he's under the Flamme Rouge.
That's the difference of having 3 riders in that break. They had to play the numbers game. Christophe Laporte looked for it. Affini went as well. Hagenes went at the perfect time because, you know, they were shedding riders from the group, and with going at the right time, Ed Plankert he was straight onto the radio. I've not got the legs. You need to go. If you get the legs going, nobody had the legs, so it's going to be a sprint for second place. But this man has it in the bag.
He does look like he has it in the bag, Brian, but I wouldn't mind looking over his shoulder. It's been shut down behind. Jumbo-Visma have done the job on this. Christophe Laporte ready to sprint it out. They'll try and get second and third on this. I would not put it past them at all. Look at this. Caden Groves in the middle. There's almost a bit of a chat going on. They've got a Groves sandwich right now, the Jumbo-Visma boys, and Laporte is going to sit on and wait. Well, that's it gone. You're absolutely right. Perstrand Hagenes is about to take the biggest win of his career so far, this young Norwegian, in this Dutch super team, which is on the verge of a massive merger, a big change for this team, and he might have just notched himself up the let's keep him record, because Perstrand Hagenes is hang on, has he still got a lap to go? Brian, am I losing my mind? I think he's just ridden through the line. That's the sprint. He has just ridden through the line. I think he thinks he's still got a lap to go. This is the sprint for second place by the looks of it. Mads Pedersen is going to clean up here, or is he? Caden Groves. Caden Groves right on the line, showing how he might have been come the finish. Brian, is it just me, or has Perstrand Hagenes not realised that he's just won the race? See it. Let's look back at this though, Brian, that moment. Nice, wasn't it? Perfect timing, straight out of the line, no one followed.
Watch Ed Plankert. He goes straight onto the radio, looking down, straight onto. You have to make that effort. You have to go. You cannot just rely on your teammate. He's already made a big effort to bring 2 riders back already.
Well, this was the moment at which he thought he had another lap to go. He didn't. He rolled straight through the line, and I think had been grabbed, just snaffled by his team carer. Let's see if we can see the moment in actual fact. I think there was a bit of banter going on amongst the team there as well once they'd